I grew up playing Dragon Ball Z games since it felt like I could hold a controller. Hell, I remember one time back in 2007, I cried my eyes out in the middle of a GameStop because Budokai Tenkaichi 3, still the best Dragon Ball game, fuck you, fight me, had come out, and I was told that I couldn't get it because my dad wanted to save for a 360. My child's brain didn't comprehend the next gen of gaming as a thing. It comprehended PS2 Dragon Ball Game Good, which it was. As I was playing that very game later, though, sometime in 2008, I switched back to cable to watch a cartoon because I kept losing and wanted a break. You know, as a kid, you're a sore loser about these things. To my shock, though, my utter shock and awe, a Dragon Ball Z cartoon was airing. I froze in place for a brief moment before I started dancing around my room and instantly got a nosebleed which bled for hours and hours. Try as my own heart condition-riddled body might, it couldn't stifle my excitement. My favorite game had a show. The show came first, who cares? I wanted to watch it. I tuned into Cartoon Network every day for a month, just hoping to catch an inkling of it one more time. The series never aired again. I, to my shock now, had witnessed the last airing of the Toonami block on Cartoon Network. If I didn't catch this airing, I wouldn't be here with you all talking about visual novels and anime today. I mean that. This was the impetus from which I would eventually acquire Dragon Ball Z on DVD. God, those orange bricks were so fucking bad. But I'll always have a special place for them in my heart. I watched those poor DVDs 100 times over. God. For all their faults, though, they did have trailers for shows like Soul Eater and Full Metal Alchemist. Shows that I hold in rather high regard today. Well, more so than DBZ, at least. But still, I have Dragon Ball to thank for introducing me to them. It was through those bricks that I also learned that Dragon Ball was something called anime, which I would then look up on YouTube and delve into a whole new world. Cyberspace in the late 2000s was a way more fun place. This was back when YouTube still had fan-subbed anime that were uploaded into 3 parts per episode in piss-poor quality. It was a pain to find each part, most of the time they were labeled incorrectly, and it was amazing. I was young and had time, so it didn't bother me nearly as much as it probably should have. I just partook in as much stuff as I could. Bits of Naruto, the Dragon Ball movies of course, and the entirety of Higurashi When They Cry. What a funny show that was to watch at like 8 or 9. A show which I'm certain led me down the path of having a taste for the more out there stuff in terms of anime. To this day, I still look at the Dean adaptation of Higu fondly for opening up my youthful eyes to what anime could be. It wasn't just people fighting, it could mess with your head and get hashtag deep too. Which I didn't understand overtly at the time, but I did know that I appreciated Shion, or Rika. It was Rika slamming a knife into her head. I appreciated that. It was great. It made my little brain go, wah! You know, I liked it more than most of the other stuff I was watching, which was just shonen shit. Which is great. Shonen shit's alright. It's not hashtag art. Speaking of appreciation, it was a few years removed from this initial boom of anime into my life that I learned about just what it was I actually watched during that day playing BT3. Toonami. I had to pay my respects, so I searched out where to watch this so-called Toonami. This is where I learned that it was canceled the very day I had seen it, which was a bit of a bummer, can't lie. I didn't care that the anime was censored, I just really liked the novelty of what Toonami was, like this niche thing I like. On TV, with a cool host who gives pep talks. What a concept, please give me that, it is infinitely appealing. But I had missed it by literal days by virtue of being slightly too young. I'm in an interesting position, I think. I don't have nostalgia for that original run of Toonami. I have nostalgia for the idea of it. I stayed up till 6 a.m. multiple times just consuming bumper after bumper, video after video, reminiscing on it nostalgically. Countless retrospectives and people campaigning for its return. The return of a block which had censored anime in the age of, the rise of sites like Crunchyroll. It was never gonna happen, but it was still just like so captivating to see all this. I loved the culture this little TV block had seemed to foster. I had missed it, but I was there to witness the community Toonami had developed grow into its own. I essentially witnessed the anime community, as it is today, become a thing. I didn't really ever participate in any online communication, so I am mainly referring to just what I watched on YouTube or read in the comments, but it was a fever dream just taking all this stuff in. Hundreds of amateurish videos, the rise and fall of reviews, and fuck bridging. Can't forget that. There was one day, early in 2012, where my mom caught me watching these videos and took the laptop I had snuck from my brother's room away from me. Which was horrible and lame. I had just found the uncut Dragon Ball Z OP that aired on the midnight run of Toonami, which is so edgy it's kind of funny now, but I was a preteen and I was vibing. Thankfully, I did eventually get the computer back and continued my learning about the Toonami block journey, which had been going on for roughly 3 years at that point. I knew about Toonami, its history, its rise, its fall from grace, Thomas the Tank Engine ass face and all. It was really beautiful witnessing this all in retrospect, and I wouldn't take back those nights basking in the afterglow for anything. Yet, there was a slight regret I had. I had been obsessed with this block for years, but I never really got to enjoy it. I could appreciate it, but it was only through the outside looking in. I wanted a Toonami for myself. I was a bit older at this point, still a dumb fuck kid, but old enough to understand that much. I thought if I had something like that, then I too could get it. Fundamentally understand the appeal and all that. You know, people have this like nostalgia for retro video games and will say like if you didn't experience it, you're not really there, which is a silly mentality, but as a kid you don't really know that, so you buy into it. And you know, I thought about it at the time, and though I didn't realize that, I still thought to myself, why would an ancient block come back from the dead just for me? That's silly. Which it was stupid, it was silly. And you know, I still had that hope, I still wanted it to happen. I have an oddly vivid memory I want to share. It was just about 3 a.m., April 25th, 2012. After a night of watching anime content split into 3 parts, which were becoming spacier and spacier on the site, thanks Google, you fucking losers. All those Toonami searches must have done something right, because right there in my recommended wasn't a retrospective, an old bumper, a fan rendition, or anything like that. It was this.
Oh, hi, Adult Swim. I got the results of the test back. I definitely have April Fools.
When I found out that it was going to be airing again as a block every Saturday night, I stared at my screen with a childlike wonder you only have a few times in life. The lineup wasn't that classic lineup of shows like Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball, but I was done with wanting to recapture the past I never had. This was my Toonami, so I made sure that I was going to watch as many shows as I absolutely could. My sleep schedule was a mess already, and I did not mind keeping it so. God, some things never change. I planned to make sure I'd be up every Saturday to see the whole run, which I did for years. And I fucking adored every second of it. All this anime, uncensored, and in a place I could watch it not spread out and in 144p. It was boggling of the mind variety. Not to mention near the start, Tom usually had something unique to say every single night, something which I don't think is the case now. I think he just walks silently onto the screen, which is very lame. You know, but because he was saying something new every night, it felt like I wasn't watching a TV block, but having an experience. Thank you, Steve Bloom, godlike voice actor. Toonami's revival made me hungry for as much anime as I could get my hands on, hungrier than I had been back in '08 post-DBZ. Soon, just the block wasn't enough. I wanted to see more and enjoy more on my own time. Trigun, Panty and Stocking, Soul Eater, Black Lagoon, Fooly Cooly, Ghost in the Shell, and fuck, even the original Dragon Ball. I bought all of them with whatever change, birthday, and Christmas money I could scrounge up over the course of a few years. I was too dumb to realize torrenting was a thing that would murder my CPU, so my library was very limited. You know, dumb fuck kid. Side tangent, I pirated Pokemon Red one time, and it fucked up my brother's laptop. So I was always on the fritz about this kind of stuff. You know, even though my library was very limited, I still had one hell of a time watching it all. I must have seen each of those shows at least 3 times, some upwards of 10, front to back, no doubt in my mind. Even though my library was limited, I still had Toonami introducing me to new things, like Casher and Sins, Dead Man Wonderland, Blue Exorcist, not SAO. Fuck SAO for getting my hopes up. December movie month, though, it had my first viewing of Akira, a film which blew my fucking mind, Summer Wars, my favorite version of the Digimon movie, and just, it was so much culture for my young mind, and there was always something new. Space Dandy. I fucking love Space Dandy. That aired first. That aired in the West first. Isn't that neat? That's like such a cool thing. And the dub's better than the sub. It's just one of those shows. Fuck you, fight me. They gave the robot an auto-tuned voice. They didn't do that in Japan. Japan had the better intro, though. In hindsight, it's odd that for as much impact Toonami had on me growing up, for the past 2 or 3 years, I've only checked into the block maybe a handful of times. The last proper series I tuned in for was Megalobox, which I believe was the last short-form show they aired. Since then, I haven't really seen the block other than the occasional bumper that's uploaded. I'm really happy it's still running, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same anymore. I'm not being a boomer, I swear. Everything on the block is just long-running shonen now. It's always had a shonen bend, don't misunderstand, but Toonami used to air shorter shows that'd always end after 12 episodes. There was always something new to experience, and that magic's kinda dead now. I don't care for shows like Dragon Ball Super, My Hero Academia, One Piece, fuck One Piece, or Naruto, or anything like that. Which is a shame because they comprise the majority of the block now. Which I get, they're shows that bring in numbers because shonen fags exist, but still, they don't even do the movies for December anymore, which was legit my favorite thing about the Toonami revival. It was so cool to tune in and watch a bunch of different movies. That was my first exposure to Ava. See you tomorrow for that. Take me back to the Dead Man Wonderland days. I know that's not sustainable, especially with the rise of streaming, but damn it, it was such a good time. I have Toonami to thank for my interests today. It lit this fire in me that just continued, and it was something I looked forward to every week all the way up till I graduated high school. Fuck, that's odd to think about. When Toonami came back, I would have been in 6th or 7th grade, and I watched it weekly all the way up till I graduated. Fuck. May Tom and Sarah continue to live in peace. I know they've been through hell since the reboot. Those constant events gotta be a little stressful for the operating system. Speaking of which, these events, every time one happens, Tom changes his design, and his best design is the 3rd variant. Everything since has been lame and bad. No, I will not be taking critiques. I am correct objectively, even though objectivity doesn't exist, at least in terms of opinions. It does this time, though. Which reminds me, with the whole event thing, the mythos of Toonami is amazing and totally worth analyzing. Just not by me. I kinda just wanted to talk about my nostalgia for Toonami. I'm 20. I get to have these nostalgic episodes. I don't really care about the hashtag deep lore of the block. Anyways, it's been fun walking down memory lane a bit, but this is where I bid you all adieu. So goodbye for now. Share your Toonami-related thoughts in the comments if you so please. Also, I have a Patreon, which I think is pretty cool and you should check out, please. Please, 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 please. Anyhow, I will see you all soon. Nighty-night, everyone.